On a numbers game, the right data changes everything, and the data behind Shopify is hard to argue with. Millions of businesses worldwide run on it, including our own VSiN store. When we launched, Shopify's templates and AI tools got us live fast. Professional looking from day one. No tech background needed. Shopify checkout converts more customers and makes it easy for returning fans to come back and buy again in a single click. Shopify's built-in AI assistant Sidekick is there whenever you need help, building, troubleshooting, or just figuring out your next move. Check out what we built at vsin.com/store. Then go build something of your own. All you need is the idea. Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/vsin. That's shopify.com/vsin. Shopify.com/vsin.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Monday morning to you. It is the numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, SiriusXM channel 158. Gil Alexander back in San Francisco for another week. Kelly Bidlin back in Vegas for yet another week. Shout out to Dustin Sweetelson for being in this chair, not this specific chair, but in the host chair on, yes, that would be weird. Sitting here. Dustin, what are you doing here in my place? That's Kelly Bidlin, everybody. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Welcome back. Welcome back for a short, quick week back, and then some nice vacay for you. How was the week off?
Oh, man. Have you been to California? Have you heard of this place called California before?
You just soaked up the city?
Dude, it's paradise. It's absolute paradise. Although the sky behind will always belie that in the morning time. But in a couple hours, it'll be beautiful. Shout out again, though, Dustin Sweetelson for reals, though, this time. Mm-hmm. Great job with you. You guys had a good time, I imagine. Did you have to give him the yellow card for encroachment, or the flag, I should say, for encroachment?
No, Danny, I did not. Right? There was one time where he got a little close. I don't remember. I considered it. I didn't have my cards on me. The cards in the bag still. I still have the cards. Talk about something that will be lost to the prop closet for 4 years from now. I'm going to be like, where's that yellow card at I had?
All right. We have to talk about the World Cup. We have to talk about the Open Championship. Today on the show, Greg Peterson will join us, talk Major League Baseball. He's got his Fab Five coming up. Aaron Schatz from FTN Sports. How about that? Aaron is coming out with the FTN Almanac. By the way, not just the FTN Almanac, Kelly. Aaron Schatz's FTN Almanac 2026. We'll talk to him about that. He's got some predictions looking at the National Football League. Wes Reynolds, Adam Burke, everybody will join us today on the show. We've got to talk Summer League. We got to talk July wins in baseball. Let's, in no particular order, let's start with the Open Championship, because I'm sure that's what you were most locked into this past weekend, plus the 154th Open Championship, the final major of the year in golf at Royal Birkdale. And the story heading into Sunday, there was a couple big storylines. One was just the two-shot penalty on Bryson DeChambeau on Friday. Kelly's two-stroke penalty on the fifth hole, improving his lie, really improving his backswing, that entire controversy. Rory McIlroy saying, hey, he held the entire tournament hostage. We didn't even have our tee times. We had to wait for Saturday tee times a little longer for that. People came out on both sides of that. Ultimately didn't matter. I think most anti-Bryson people were hoping, oh my God, I swear he finishes within 2 strokes of the lead in the end. He didn't. He finished 5 strokes back, so that didn't come into play. And the other big story, and I'm curious about this before we even get into yesterday, was all of the 62s, major round tying 62s. Friday, Lucas Herbert shot at 8 under. 62. Sam Burns had a 8 under 62. Herbert took the lead at that point. And then Saturday, the eventual winner, and congratulations to anybody who had Ryan Fox at 150-1 pre-flop or anything in between then and the end. He shot a 62 on Saturday. We actually have a graphic here from Underdog Golf. 2026 major winners and their world ranking at the time of their victories. Here's putting this year's majors into context. Look at that. Rory was the only name golfer, right? Ranked second when he won the Masters this year. But look at this. Aaron Rai wins the PGA as the 44th ranked player in the world. Wyndham Clark wins it as the 34th. And here comes Ryan Fox, the 56th ranked player in the world. But you've only had 8 62s in the history of majors golf. We had 3 this weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I think that was from a handicapping standpoint, Gil, we talked about it a lot last week leading into the tournament. It was, it's been really, really dry in the area for several months. What is this going to do to the course? There's no weather in the forecast. We know it's being played over in England right on the coast, though, so weather can pop up at any time. You didn't really know what you were seeing on Thursday, if that was going to really continue all 4 days. And it kind of did, Gil. And I think I know we don't want to jump ahead to yesterday quite yet, but I think Ryan Fox winning that, a little bit of a sigh of relief for me, because it was it was becoming a thing in the tournament, right? That if you went early and there was going to be one guy you kind of knew, heading into Sunday. I think if you were someone like me that had a Sam Burns ticket Saturday night heading into Sunday, I think you had to kind of think with any hedging plans or anything like that there was a real possibility that someone in the morning was going to go real low, because we had seen it every day of the tournament so far. And it was, I think, a credit to the golf course. I actually thought it was pretty well set up. I know it caught some criticism over the weekend and kind of early in the tournament for how easy it's playing. Well, open golf revolves so much around the weather. And when there's not weather involved, you can see some of these courses, and I think Royal Birkdale most of all, is attackable. And it was out there for low scores. And we saw it every single day in the morning when that wind was just a little bit calmer. And in the afternoon, it just picked up 5-6 miles an hour, and it made everything a little bit tougher.
Yeah, attackable it was. By the way, Justin Ray Golf, who always does great stuff on Twitter in the game of golf, points out that the lowest closing 36-hole total scores to win men's majors all time, 2 now have been at Royal Birkdale. Ian Baker Finch back in 1991 being the other one. Colin Moore and Ryan Fox yesterday, the only other 2 in golf history to compete with those 2 closing rounds in a major. Tom Watson back at the 1977 Open Championship, where he famously hit a massive putt on the 17th, ends up beating Jack Nicklaus, I should say, by 1 stroke. And then Colin Morikawa, which we remember that weird pandemic PGA at Harding Park in San Francisco, which I have hacked up a time or two. Colin Morikawa with the all-time record, closing 36 holes at 129. But yesterday, so to your point, Kelly, it was, okay, who's going to be the guy that's going to shoot this amazing round? And it turns out to be Cam Young. Cam Young birdied 1, 2, 3, 5, 9, and 14 to end up 1 back of your guy, Sam Burns, at that point. Young then birdied 17 to take the co-lead with Siwoo Kim at that point at 10 under. Kim would later fall off. Ryan Fox was sort of toggling between 9 under and 7 under the whole time. Mm-hmm. But Young gets to 18. He's at 10 under. And you're thinking, okay, this round, if you're looking for the 62, he may not get to 62, but what about a 63 here at least? Well, he found the fairway bunker at 18, after which he hit the ball right into the wall of the bunker, which was brutal for anybody who had Young at that point, because you figure the miracle is coming. The ball ended up to the right of him. He'd need a miracle up and down from there to save par. Instead, he went to a greenside bunker, gave it a good shot from there on his out, but just missed, ends up with the bogey, still the low round 64, still the leader in the clubhouse at 9 under. And for much of the afternoon yesterday, it looked like that might hold up. We'll get to Scheffler on the side, sort of as a sidebar. But in the end, as I mentioned, Kim bogeyed 11 to fall to 9 under, then 12 to go to 8 under. Scheffler ends up with issues late, which we'll talk about. But Fox birdies 14 to tie Young at 9 under temporarily. At the par 3 15, he then goes into the bunker. The ball's right under the lip, so unplayable toward the hole. He ends up bogeying. Siwoo bogey 16 to go to 7 under, bogeyed 18 to finish at 6 under.
Which was awesome, so Young, by the way, Gil. Like, those are the Open Championship moments that, I hope people appreciate. Ryan Fox stepping into that bunker and say, I don't have an angle. This is British Open golf. I have no angle to the green whatsoever. I'm not going to waste any time. Let me punch it out. I'm going to take my medicine. Hope I get up and down for bogey. And he did, and that was one of the holes that saved the tournament.
So true. Young, one-stroke lead then over Burns and Fox with 3 to play at this point after Fox took his medicine there. But then Fox birdied 16 to tie Young again at 9 under. And so we have a tournament. Fox has a makeable birdie putt on 17. This will get lost. He slides it just left, which brings us to 18. Fox enters the final hole tied with Young, who hadn't played in over 2 hours by now. Right, all those 62s were in the morning. His 64 was in the morning as well. Burns was 1 back. So on 18, Fox, with no hesitation at all on any of his shots, great tee shot right into the fairway, great approach to 11 feet of the cup. Remember, to that point, the 18th had only yielded 4 birdies all day and only 27 all week, the fewest of any hole on the course. So Burns got on the dance floor. He had a birdie try to tie it. He misses right. He pars. Fox for the win from 11 feet. Bang. Ryan Fox with birdies on 4 of the last 6 holes, 39 years old, the Kiwi from New Zealand. He is the Claret Jug winner. Do you know anybody who had him?
No, I did not. I'm happy to see for Fox, though. I think that like Cameron Young, I don't think that's the way we want to see Cameron Young pick up a major win, right? Kind of backing into it. And look, it was really, I'm on Burns. I'm not happy about it. Like there were guys with opportunities here, right? Siwoo Kim, I had a top 20 bet on. Like there were plenty of opportunities to go out and take this thing. And you always want to see that, right? I'm never going to be upset. Fox stepped up at the end in those closing holes, went out there and won the damn thing. So I'm happy for him. Just an absolute red hot putting performance over the weekend. It's one of those that it's kind of hard to lose when you putt like he did over the weekend. Over 8 strokes gained over the field just on Saturday and Sunday alone.
It's an amazing year of golf, and I'm curious, you as a golf handicapper, because just contextualizing what we said earlier about, besides Rory winning the Masters, every major winner was kind of, to varying degrees out of left field. Yeah. Certainly Aaron Rai and Ryan Fox a little more out of left field than Wyndham Clark, according to some. But then, Underdog Golf putting in context here as well. Best cumulative scores to par in all the 2026 majors combined among those who made all 4 cuts. Scheffler and Burns, 20 under. Neither won a major this year. Remember that Scheffler bet was like minus 115 for him to win a major this year. It didn't happen. Schauffele 13 under collectively. There's McIlroy, the only major winner on this board at 11 under, along with Cam Young. Obear 10 under. Morikawa 6 under. Only in that entire group, only McIlroy ends up actually winning a major, specifically the green jacket. So just a crazy year. We'll talk more about golf because I want to ask you about Sam Burns, about Siwoo, about Scheffler, World Cup as well. It's a numbers game. You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Don't forget about the sharp plays, unmatched transparency with records updated daily, AI betting analysis, real-time global betting info, and alerts directly from the pros. Check them out. Scan the QR code for more at sharpplays.com. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. Missed y'all. This is from Trip Tepper. Had Cam Young 25-1, which I grabbed live early in the final round. Glad the golf major season is over since this year has delivered multiple gut punches on outrights. Happy for Fox, but a playoff would have been the ideal scenario yesterday to guarantee a profit. Trip, I'm sure you were not alone with Cam Young futures. New Jersey, New York, regarding the Open, I had Sky Sports coverage of the final day. I had a Cam Young outright at a bad price. The Sky analyst interviewed him after his bogey on 18 and shot a 64. And he flat out said, quote, I really wish I was on minus 10 because there's a lot of guys who can hit that. Yeah, he knew 10 under was the mark. Jason H11, I had outrights on Young, Burns, and Kim. To say I was disappointed by Fox is an understatement. This happens too much to me in golf. Sorry, I'm out. I'll watch, but not wasting any more bankroll. I think a lot of people feel that way about golf sometimes. My buddy, again, in DC, he had Scheffler, he had Young, he had Fleetwood, right? I was just like, these are all great bets, man, but it's golf. Like one of these dudes can come in and just scoop everything. And that's exactly what happened. Locked In Sports. Let's go today. MLB is back. Greg Peterson standing by to give us some plays. PK Mountain Steeler Den. No. Welcome back, Gil. But it is Since You've Been Gone by Rainbow. Did they do the original before Kelly Clarkson? Is that what I'm getting? Sure. Darren Frazier. Gilly is back and all is right in the world again. Thank you. Although Kelly and Dustin, the bearded sports brothers, make a great team. Welcome back. We'll still enjoy the city. Still enjoying the city, Gilly. Let's make some money this week. Let us make some money. Jaco Bellis at Wapisi Capital. He's the guy responsible for the Todd Wishnev purple face. He said World Cup final had 1,540,000,000 plus in volume. Yes, that's 3 commas. I don't know. Is that at Kalshi? Is that at Polymarket? Which shop was that at? I don't know what your
on Kalshi,
which one you're talking about.
He says.
But again, let's have the. Oh, it does say Kalshi?
Yeah, underneath it, he said.
Underneath it say Kalshi. So again, volume on prediction markets does not exactly equate to handle, as we know from traditional sports books, right? Because volume, sometimes it's market maker to better. So those get counted, but it's not the same as sportsbook. So in other words, really what in terms of handle, at a minimum, it's half of that, right? At a minimum, it's half that. So let's just say 750 million, right? It's still a ridiculous amount of money. And it's probably more than that because some of those are peer to market makers. So it's it's probably about $1 billion, let's call it, in volume to be accurate on that. Kurz Fluffy. Kurz says, don't think the plays got posted to VSiN's pro page this morning. Never saw the Droege play. Bill 80. Did he fail to put the tennis plays up? Because I sent him the tennis plays and then we got into a text exchange. Maybe he forgot to put them up. Anyway, Droege got broken. So now we're on serve in the third because of course that happened, Kelly. So now we're sweating it out on Droege anyway. Greg Peterson joins us now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on Twitter at gunit_81. Of course, a man that we love for so many reasons, including his dating life, including his love for Texas Roadhouse, his beer analysis. He joins us now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line, as I said. Greg, good morning to you.
Hey, guys, it's always a pleasure. Missed you last week, Gil, but good to have you back and good to have back a little bit of everything, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing very well. You thrilled baseball is back? It's a great time of year.
Of course. It has been a great second half of the season thus far, and the Red Sox winning 13 straight games weren't necessarily on my bingo card, but hey, someone in the American League had to win games, and apparently the Red Sox said, hey, you know what? We're going to be that team that wins games. So that's the beauty of baseball this time of year, where we're about 2 weeks away from the trade deadline, and there are so many teams are on the cut line right now from whether or not they want to be buyers, sellers, or standing pat. So it's a great time.
August 3rd is the trade deadline this year, August 3rd. So yes, a couple weeks away, and so many teams. I think it's going to come down to the last series before that, Greg, before they decide whether or not to be buyers or sellers. And by the way, about the Red Sox, someone didn't see 13 wins in a row coming, but someone around here did see this surge coming. We'll get into that a little later. Ooh. Let's get to your Fab Five. Guardians and Twins. Guardians still 3 games above 500. They're driving me crazy. I have a season win total under on them. They are hosting the Twins today, who have had themselves a fine month themselves. What do you have here?
Yep, and for the Minnesota Twins, they've got the better starter here, Joe Ryan. Really like what he's been able to provide. A sub-3 ERA, he's getting 10-plus strikeouts per 9 innings. Had to fade the Twins, though, because of everyone not named Joe Ryan. 27th in terms of bullpen ERA, and Byron Buxton being out, it's really hurt this offense. I mean, without Byron Buxton in the last 10 games, they're averaging 3.7 runs per game. Josh Bell was having himself a relatively good month of June. He's starting to regress a little bit. Royce Lewis, guys like this are not giving you too much. And for the Guardians, it's been a little bit rough for them as well. Without having Jose Ramirez, the offense has been sputtering a little bit, but they've got by far the better bullpen. And Tanner Bybee throughout his career just has always been a better pitcher at home rather than away from him. He does give up a little bit more hard contact than is ideal, about 1.6 home runs per 9 innings. But just with the way that the Twins have been so awful in that bullpen, way that they're having a tough time getting runs up on the board, I took a shot here on the Guardians at plus money on the money line.
All right, we have an interleague game, and this is an intriguing one between the Pirates and the Yankees in the Bronx today. And if I said to you, which of these teams feels more like a playoff team right now in their respective leagues, I'm not sure what the answer is. Some people might actually say the Buccos at this point. Pirates at Yanks. Yanks a very slight favorite. Who you got?
With the Yankees not having Aaron Judge, I would say the Pirates too, because, man, for the New York Yankees in their last 24 games, they're averaging 3.3 runs per game. And now they run into Braxton Ashcraft, who I recognize his ERA is right around about a 3.48 right now. Fielding independent is even lower, though. He's getting 10 plus strikeouts per 9 innings. And for the Yankees, they're coming off of Sunday Night Baseball for 1. 2, they're coming off of playing 18 innings yesterday. And 3, Ryan Weathers has been giving up a lot of hard contact. 4.15 ERA. He's given up 1.5 home runs per 9 innings. And with the Pittsburgh Pirates, when you think of them, you think of the starting pitching with the likes of Paul Skeens, Braxton Ashcraft and company. They're second in the league in terms of run creation. They're averaging over 5.3 runs per game. They've done a great job in terms of being able to put bat to ball. This has all been without Oneil Cruz over the last few weeks, by the way, as well. So I think that you've got some good value with plus money on the Pirates. Better starter, better offense, and Yankees are just having things slide away, even though they got the win on Sunday Night Baseball. So give me the over and the Pirates here on the money line.
All right, this is interesting. Mets play the Brewers today. It is the Miz on the hill for the Brew Crew. Freddie Peralta going for the Mets. You're taking the over 7 here.
Because I think that the Brewers are going to do so much of the heavy lifting, and I think that they really want to stick it to Freddie Peralta. This is going to be his first trip back to Milwaukee, and he does not come in good form. In his last 5 starts, he has given up 23 runs in 21 1/3 innings. It has been a miserable run for him recently. And for Mizorowski, do I have to have a few question marks with him because he did not pitch in the All-Star game. That last start prior to the All-Star game, he did not make as well. I think that he's going to be perfectly fine. I think that was a little bit cautionary, but that's something that you do want to take note of. This is going to be the most innings that he serves in his career. So perhaps we see a little bit of regression in the second half of the season, mainly because, well, when you've got a sub 175 ERA, it's hard to not have regression to that. So I'm going to be in on the over. And for the Brewers' sake that they dominate, I took plus money on their run line.
All right, White Sox Rangers, Jacob deGrom on the hill for the Rangers, who lead the AL West. Though I will say deGrom's Cy Young odds, which we'll get into a little later on the show, maybe a little too short. Nonetheless, what are you playing in this game today?
You mentioned that he's given up 1.4 home runs per 9 innings. The strikeouts have been good. He's only giving up 2 walks per 9 innings, but he's given up a lot of hard contact. And for the White Sox, you've got 3 different guys on the roster that have been able to give you 20 plus home runs this season. Eric Fetty is not a guy that does a great job in terms of keeping the ball in the yard himself, though. He's given up 1.5 home runs, 3.5 walks per 9 innings. Been a little bit shaky for the Rangers overall on offense this year, but Wyatt Langford has really been the key for them. He went deep once again yesterday. That total of 7.5 for me is just too low, especially with the Rangers. Sort of have some shakiness in the bullpen, so I do like that over.
All right, Wrigley, a total at Wrigley set at 11.5. I believe you may have bet this at 12. It is Jameson Taillon for the Cubbies. It is Jack Flaherty for the Tigers. You're going under.
Yep, this was 12 overnight. We're now seeing more in the neighborhood of 11.5, and still like it, the 11.5 to the under. Now, James Taillon making his first start in about 40 or so days. But for Jack Flaherty, even though he's been giving up the 4.4 walks per 9 innings, what really suppresses the offense here is the fact that Flaherty gets over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. Hard to be able to get the ball in the yard if you're not hitting the ball whatsoever. Tigers have also been a bottom 10 team in terms of run creation as well. So a little bit too high of a total here, even though you've got the wind blowing out and you've got a hotter day out there in Wrigley. So going to be in on that under in the Tigers versus Cubs game.
Greg, when I'm back in town, Texas Roadhouse. Me and you, let's do it.
Yes, absolutely. I am fired up for it, my friend. Thank you.
Greg Peterson, everybody, at GUnit_81. Kelly, you're invited too if you want to come.
Yay!
Thanks, sir. World Cup, July wins MLB next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The NFL preseason is only a couple weeks away, and the best bettors are already getting ahead. Lock in early bird pricing on our football special for just $175 before the price goes up next month. You'll get instant access to our 2026-27 NFL betting guide, plus our upcoming college football betting guide, giving you everything you need to attack futures, win totals, conference races, and the upcoming season before kickoff. And the sooner you sign up, the more value you get with full VSiN Pro access to everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. That includes daily best bets, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, and 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin here on A Numbers Game. Kelly, you want to do... ladies and gentlemen, we have Adam Burke, who has appeared before our eyes. He's the glue that holds this whole operation together. And in fact, that guide that I just talked about and the college football guide heading forward, all the guides that we do, he is the man who steers the ship on all of them. Again, VSiN.com/subscribe for those. It's Adam Burke, everybody, at Skating Tripods on Twitter. Adam, good morning, sir.
How we doing, gentlemen?
How you doing, man? Are you in full college football guide mode at this point? What's going on?
Yeah, pretty much. I gave myself a pretty heavy workload on the college football guide. You know, we had Zachary Cohen covering Wimbledon for us and NBA Summer League and all of that. So, you know, added a little bit more to my plate with the writing side of this thing. Going to start putting it all together, editing it here this week. So really looking forward to having that out. About halfway done with the Sun Belt. It's the last conference I got to finish up. Just did my power ratings over the weekend. So looking forward to the start of the college football season and that college football guide coming out here on Monday, August 3rd.
Monday, August 3rd, same day as the MLB trade deadline. Do you want to give us one, you don't have to go completely deep dive in on this, but one thing that you wrote about that you felt was a little, maybe even surprising to you once you got into it?
Yeah. One team that I already put a futures play in on is Clemson to win the ACC. I think this is a bounce back year for the Tigers here. You know, Garrett Riley was the scapegoat, right? I mean, Dabo Swinney threw Garrett Riley under the bus, backed it over him multiple times, the offensive coordinator. Now he's reunited with Chad Morris, who's a guy that he had worked with in the past, you know, in his earlier times there at Clemson. I think that this is going to be a team that really takes a big step forward. Cade Klubnik actually regressed throughout the course of his 4-year career there in Clemson. So, you know, I think their offense is probably better. The wide receiver group is still really good. The defense probably in line for a bounce back. Miami lost a lot from last season. Not totally buying in on Louisville because Jeff Brom always loses a couple of games throughout the course of the year that he shouldn't. I think there's a good chance that Clemson kind of returns back to prominence in the conference. So I was about 14-1 when I took them to win the ACC. I'd have to check an updated price now, but I think that one's definitely worthwhile here in what is, again, the weakest of the Power Four conferences, despite what Pat Narduzzi's been saying over the last couple of days.
Still 14-1 at DraftKings. Is Clemson.
So 14-1 at DraftKings. We had Aaron Schatz on the show earlier, Adam, and it came up who's the worst team in football. He did not have the Arizona Cardinals, who are aligned as the worst team in football based on season win total. He had your Cleveland Browns. What say you?
I mean, look, I get it, right? I mean, the most important position on the field, they don't really have an answer for, but the rest of this roster is pretty damn good. You know, I mean, they got a lot of talent and athleticism at the wide receiver position coming out of the draft. We'll see how Quinshon Judkins comes back from his injury, but I mean, they've rebuilt the offensive line. The defense is still really, really good. It's the most important position on the field that's a problem, so I can understand why people are low on this Browns team, but I think in terms of the other 52 guys, or the other, well, I guess we'll say 50 or 51 guys, they're a pretty good football team, but the two guys that are going to be the starter in the back of a quarterback, not pretty good. So I think that's really the big reason why. But, you know, I was texting with some buddies about this here recently. This is going to be one of those things where the Browns screw around and go 6-11, 7-10, push themselves out of a top 5 pick. And then they got to make a trade to get themselves to get a quarterback, probably Arch Manning, because that's who Jimmy Haslam's going to want. It's going to be quintessential Cleveland, where they're going to be just good enough to probably not get the guy that they want in the draft.
I'm always tickled by the defeatism of everything. By the way, do you want LeBron back in Cleveland, Adam?
I mean, I'm not really a big NBA guy, so it doesn't really matter that much to me. But I do think everything coming full circle makes sense. You know, I mean, he had to rehab his image coming out of the first decision where, you know, then he goes back to Cleveland, gets the city a title. I could see him going back again. But also, I think there's probably a lot of allure to him for playing with Steph Curry. So I don't know. I could see Golden State over Cleveland, but honestly, doesn't matter to me. I think the Cavs got to figure out a way to win in the playoffs because they have good regular seasons, but Donovan Mitchell just doesn't really have the legs and the body when you get to April and May. So that's what they really got to figure out.
All right, to Major League Baseball. Give me an Adam Burke sort of off the beaten path, off the conventional wisdom path take moving forward here for the rest of the regular season. Is there a team that you feel most aren't thinking about that will get to the playoffs? Is there a team that you feel will collapse and will not make the playoffs that most think will?
Fortunately, I said this a couple weeks ago. I thought Boston was going to make the playoffs. And I mean, they're on some kind of incredible run now. So that's just kind of the hive mind thought at this point, not exactly something that's off the beaten path by any means. I still think Detroit has a really, really good shot to win the American League Central here. You talk about the defeatist Cleveland point of view. Yeah, we can kind of play up that angle a little bit if we want to. But look, guys, I talked about this in a couple of different places here. There were some seed markets out there over the All-Star break in terms of American League number 2 and number 3 seed. Detroit was number 2, or was 35-1 for the number 2 seed, 22-1 for the number 3 seed. If they win this division, they are not going to be the number 1 seed in the American League. I mean, that's going to go to whoever wins the East, whether it's the Yankees or the Rays. There's just too much ground to make up for everybody else. So I thought the Tigers at 35-1 to be the number 2 seed or 22-1 to be the number 3 seed, a much better alternate way of playing them than just taking 7-1 to win the division. And I do think that the White Sox, their pitching staff worries me long-term here in the second half. Maybe they get some reinforcements at the deadline. I don't know. We'll see. Also, a very left-handed heavy lineup. They got to find some right-handed hitting help at the deadline. We'll see if they're able to accomplish those two things. And Cleveland, I mean, it just isn't a very good baseball team. They win games just because that's kind of what they do. They find ways in the late innings, but still a bad lineup. They've only used 5, now 6 starting pitchers all year long with Logan Allen getting a start in Saturday's doubleheader. Like, that's probably not sustainable in the second half. Someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to get dinged up. And then we'll see how Jose Ramirez comes back, because the hamate injury can zap your power and can take a while for you to come back 100%. So he's going to hurry his way back because the team needs him. But we'll see how effective he is when he does come back.
Yeah, it's so interesting with baseball futures. Take a team like the Red Sox. I have them in July at a big number, 80-1. But so folks were, trying to scramble to do other bets with the Red Sox. Some said to win the AL East. I don't think you make that bet because they might get Ranger Suarez back soon and Trevor Story, but there is no timetable for Garrett Crochet or for Roman Anthony currently. And their schedule after July gets really hard. So I don't think an AL East bet is a good one, but I think an AL bet is a great one, because if they can somehow get in, those two, Crochet and Anthony, might be back, probably will be back. And you have that 8-9 close, sort of like akin to the Kansas City Royals 7-8-9 close of Herrera, Davis, and who am I forgetting back in the day, Adam? Who was in the 9th inning back then? Kelvin Herrera, Wade Davis, and anyway, 7-8-9.
Wasn't Soria, right?
Oh no, it wasn't Soria. It's escaping me now. But anyway, a back end, way to play baseball, to build it from the back up. So I that's what makes baseball so interesting, particularly this American League, which is so flat earthed at this point. I mean, there is really no great team in the American League. What did you land on today, by the way?
Yeah, and I think real quick, just a point about that, as you mentioned, I mean, the trade deadline 2 weeks away, like, there aren't a lot of sellers. So I'm really curious to see who in the American League can get, tangibly better at the trade deadline and get some kind of impact level player, because probably not going to be a whole lot of those available. So I guess we'll wait and see. Look, I think today's a really tough day in the MLB, because you've got a lot of starting pitchers that haven't pitched in 10, 12 days because of the All-Star break. So you don't know exactly who's going to be sharp, who's going to come back in good form. You even got a guy in Jameson Taillon, a short favorite for the Cubs, but he's coming off the injured list too. So I think it's kind of a tough day in Major League Baseball. The one play I do like actually is fading a guy coming back off of injury. To take the Marlins for the first 5 with Jansen Junk on the mound against Ronel Blanco. Blanco coming back from Tommy John, hasn't pitched at the MLB level since May of last year. I think it could be a really tough thing for a guy who already doesn't have a great control profile. Also a pitch to contact guy, a lot of fly balls. If he's not sharp, he can give up some runs and have some pretty bad starts. And Jansen Junk has been outstanding against right-handed batters so far this season. Only lefty of consequence in that Houston lineup is Yordan Alvarez. So I like the Marlins for the first 5 at even money, and that one tonight down in Houston.
All right, Adam, back into the lab you go for the college football preview guide. We thank you, as always, for all your efforts on all those guides and beyond, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it, boys. Have a good one.
Adam Burke, everybody, at Skating Tripods on Twitter. We'll come back. AL Sci, NL Sci. This is pretty fascinating as well. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back on a numbers game, live from San Francisco. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin, back in Las Vegas at the VSiN Studios at Circa Resort Casino. And Aaron Schatz, the creator of DVOA and the author of Aaron Schatz's 2026 FTN Football Almanac, joins us. And, we'll get to more of Aaron's picks here in a second. But I just wanted to, because I went back, I was reading the Cowboys blurb, not blurb, it's a few pages. I shouldn't call it a blurb, but it really, reading an almanac like yours, Aaron, it's so great from different perspectives because one, I find myself laughing at some of the things and it's so entertaining that way. In addition to just, making me actually, I don't even remember if I had teams in the proper context, but it reminds you if you did know, and it helps you if you didn't know, putting teams in actual context with actual facts. Let me just give the Cowboys example on both ends. One, Mike Tanier wrote the Cowboys summary, and he said their defense not only ranked last in the NFL, but was the third worst since 1977 by DVOA, trailing only the 86 Bucks and the 81 Colts. I don't think I remember it that way. I'm like, wow, I did not remember that. Over-reliant on Brandon Aubrey, who kicked 10 field goals of 20 to 29 yards. So it speaks to the conservatism of Brian Schottenheimer. It also reminded us that Aubrey missed 6 50-plus yarders last year. And then he had sentences like this, and I'll let you comment. Sentences like this, which I just love. He goes, Schottenheimer is famous for establishing the run to set up the run so his teams can run when opponents know they are running. I love stuff like that. This is why I love your almanac. It's great. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Later in the chapter, there's a joke about Aubrey trying a 60-yard field goal at the center's wedding.
That's right. Anyway, it just gives, for Cowboys fans, you're not going to like reading this, but it just gives great contextualization again. And really it does a lot about, hey, was the Michael Parsons trade a good one or a bad one? And on the one hand, talks about all the great pieces that the Cowboys have gotten. And in the end, it's like screech to a halt and be like, yeah, but wait a minute. Like none of this, they could have done this without trading Micah Parsons to some degree. So, and the proof is in the actual results. Back one question back to the Rams and the Seahawks. I know they were 1-2 Seahawks Rams last year, but where were they historically in DVOA? Do you remember?
Including the playoffs, Seattle was the number 4 team in history, and the Rams were something like 20th.
Wow. Oh, the Rams dropped to 20th. Okay, 4th. So we're talking 91 Skins, 2007 Patriots, 85 Bears, 2025 Seahawks. Is that correct?
If you include the playoffs, yeah. They're a little lower if you only look at the regular season, but they were really dominant in the playoffs.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the stuff I teased here before the break. One, AFC Super Bowl favorite. You have who?
Houston Texans, baby. Houston was the number 1 AFC team in DVOA last year. We know they have a fantastic defense, but this will shock you. Last year, C.J. Stroud, in the regular season, ranked 11th in passing DVOA. I know he had 2 horrible games in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he was an above-average quarterback, If you give him an actual running game and a slightly better offensive line, and he should have that this year, they should put an above average offense on the field to go with one of the top 2 or 3 defenses in the league.
Wow. Okay. That'll definitely rattle some people's brains on how they have the AFC South stacked up, let alone the AFC. What about a couple AFC teams that you feel are going to go back to the playoffs largely based on schedule improvement?
Yeah, it's surprising that we don't have the Ravens and Bengals higher in DVOA projections, especially the Ravens, but they do have 2 of the 5 easiest schedules. That whole AFC North division has easy schedules, especially the teams that get to also play the Browns twice. And so we like the Bengals and Ravens to both return to the playoffs, thanks in large part to easy schedules.
Okay. Commanders, I read that one too. I wasn't too thrilled, and I hate to say it, but I agree with so much of it. What about here's from a betting standpoint. Your favorite season win total over is?
The Arizona Cardinals.
Oh. Okay,
I believe that at some books, Arizona is all the way down at 3.5. And they were something like 23rd in DVOA last year. Not 32nd, like 23rd. And they have the hardest schedule in the league. But all they have to do is win 4 of 11 non-division games to go over 3.5, or 5 if you have them at 4.5. That's not that hard to win 5 non-division games, even assuming they lose all 6 of their division games because their division is so good. That team is not the worst team in the league. It's really not.
Yeah, 3.5 at DraftKings, and it's not juiced. It's -110 over 3.5. If we do that thing where we do this, and this is with Peril, right, where we go through the schedule, they're like, I don't know where I can find 4 wins, but you're saying, that obviously is a exercise that worked better in the 80s and 90s than it does today. I will acknowledge. But you think that is the best over of all? You have the biggest gap between that and its actual number.
Yeah, absolutely the best over of all. And I understand the vibes in Arizona are not good. Like, we have them projected as something like 7 wins. I don't think they're going to hit that because the vibes are bad, but they can hit 5. They can hit 5, and that's not ridiculous. They are not the worst team in the league.
How many years in a row have you done this almanac now, or some version of an NFL betting, NFL preview guide?
This is the 22nd book. We started with Pro Football Prospectus 2005. That was our first book.
Wow. And are you at the point, and I don't know if you were like this, but I'm just curious, you're not writing all of it. You have others, as I just mentioned, doing certain teams' capsules. Do you ever read anybody else's work and then chime in on it? Or do you just hands off on it? You're like, no, it's your thing.
No, I mean, since all the projections come from me, I'm sort of guiding every chapter and sort of how good the teams are going to be. But I do try to let people keep their own voices. I mean, for example, our Saints projections are much lower than conventional wisdom. But I think you'll see that the Saints chapter is more optimistic than the numbers are. And I sort of let it be that way because that's how the author felt. But you do hear my voice chiming in. Every chapter has the voice of the author, but a little bit of my voice in it as well.
Makes sense. Give me something else in the almanac this year that you were particularly proud of, or you found particularly noteworthy. Maybe it's just your sort of prediction being well off market on another team, or maybe it's just a particular deep dive that you really took pride in.
I think people will be surprised by how much we like the Lions. Because, again, that is one of the best teams ever by DVOA to finish in last place, to miss the playoffs. They were a pretty good team last year, despite going 9-8, and obviously very injured. And the idea is that they will probably be healthier this year. So we like the Lions a lot. I think something where you'll see us go against our own numbers is the Vikings. Our numbers have the Vikings defense regressing to average, and I think we sort of make the point in the chapter that Brian Flores is probably too good of a defensive coordinator to let that happen Like, the projection system doesn't know that Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator, but he is. So we don't think their defense is going back to average and their offense should be better. That should be the best division again. The NFC North is the best division in the game. As good as the NFC West is, it does have the Cardinals at the bottom, whereas the NFC North has 4 good teams.
Cardinals the worst team in the NFL per your projections, or no?
No, the Cardinals aren't even close to the worst team in the NFL. They have the hardest way to win a division because their division is so good. The Browns are the worst team in the NFL.
Oh, I like
There you
that.
go, Kelly.
Like
There
hearing
you go.
that for that Browns under. Didn't understand that number at all. I think it's Aaron. Who else do you have at the bottom? Because I think a lot of people, or maybe not a lot of people, but I look at it similarly. Where the Cardinals roster isn't terrible. It's just you're stuck in the NFC West.
Yeah, the Jets are near the bottom, although we like their defense to be average because of all the free agents they picked up. The Saints, which will surprise people, I know that their defense improved in the second half of last year, and people think Tyler Shuck has promise, but we have them low. We have the Falcons low, we have Miami low, and we have Tennessee low, although you can certainly tell the story where Tennessee plays much better because they have the young number 1 quarterback and they have the coaching change. And it's certainly possible that it's a lot more possible that we're wrong about Tennessee than that we're wrong about Miami.
It's so well done. Aaron, can't thank you enough. You've probably, you and I have probably talked before most of all these last 2 decades, right before these came out. So I appreciate you always coming on. Tell everybody again the easiest way to get it.
Yeah, ftnfantasy.com/almanac or Amazon, search for FTN Football Almanac 2026 and check out everything we have at FTN, all kinds of good projections, betting advice, all kinds of good stuff there on a number of sports.
Fantasy heavy as well. Aaron, thank you so much. Aaron Schatz, everybody,
All
right
right
here on A Numbers Game. Coming back.